Here's a real story for you. Not too long ago, I was at a party and had an opportunity to talk to this really smart guy. Gradually, the topic changed to health as the guy mentioned that he had type 2 diabetes and a family member of his had just passed away the previous year because of heart problems, and that person also had diabetes. The guy pawed at the immense flabby stomach that hung over his belt and said, "This year, I really need to do something about all of this." Curiously and politely, I asked, "So, what are you going to do about that?" This guy, who was probably 60 to 80 pounds overweight for his frame, looked me right in the eye and said, "Well, fat doesn't make you fat. Sugar does." Okay, I thought, he has part of the solution. He continued, "Do you know about timed workouts? High-intensity interval training? A buddy of mine runs about 10 miles a week, and he also does those workouts that are really popular on TV, and he complains that he can't lose a pound. And the reason why he isn't losing weight is because he's triggering a cortisol response in his body. His nervous system goes into fight or flight because it thinks he's being chased, and if he's dieting at the same time, then it also thinks he's starving. So his body holds on to that fat in case he needs it to fend off starvation and fuel him while he's running from the wolves in the wild. Old instinctual programming dies hard, huh?" Pausing for a moment to take a gulp of beer, he plunged his hand into a nearby bowl of corn chips. "Here's the kicker," he said. "Most people don't even know that the nutrient quality of our food has all but disappeared. And most of this stuff is genetically modified anyways. Practically none of the minerals we need for good health are present. Only the ones that can be synthetically manufactured and used as fertilizer to make the plants at least look edible are being used. So that means we need to be very selective about where our whole foods come from." Wow, I'm thinking to myself, this guy knows a lot about the things I've been studying and using to transform my own body. "You seem really knowledgeable," I said to him. "I'm surprised that being overweight has been an issue for you." Sheepishly, he looked down at the floor. "Well, I seem to have a problem putting it all together. It's like there's this block to doing it all. I don't seem to have the willpower, or maybe I don't believe I can. I start, and then something inside of me just gives up. I guess I don't know what it is, otherwise it would be different." And this is where I personally started a few years ago, after I found myself weighing in at 274 pounds. There's a progression from not knowing to applying this knowledge and then getting the results over time. The biggest hurdles were in my mind and directly affected my emotions, which played out through my decisions. I can't tell you exactly how many books I've read on weight loss, nutrition, exercise, and health sciences. I know that over the course of a decade, I've spent thousands of dollars buying books, attending exercise classes like yoga, kettlebell, Pilates, cycling classes, interval training, gym memberships, home workout equipment, workout DVDs, and more. I bought literally hundreds of supplements promising to melt away fat, increase my energy, change my hormones, none of which seemed to deliver any long-term results. And then, during that whole time, I don't know about you, but I had a few friends, both men and women, who are those naturally skinny, lean body types. The kind of body that Hollywood seems to love. The technical term is ectomorph. And they love telling me what I should be doing different. But when I'd have a meal with them, I'm not kidding you, they would eat 2 to 3 times the amount of food I would and not gain a pound. It seemed like I get fatter just watching them eat. And they were those sort of people who had to go work out or go to the gym in order to not lose weight or muscle mass. You've probably known people like that, right? Of course, back then, I didn't really know any better, so I'd try their recommendations, and it would backfire horribly, and after a couple of weeks, I'd feel and look worse than before. And these were the people that insisted I wasn't eating enough and that I shouldn't skip meals. So finally, I decided I wasn't going to take weight loss advice from a lean body person who never had to lose weight and could eat whatever they wanted and rarely exercised. Maybe you've noticed this too. If not, just ask. But everyone seems to have an opinion on what is a healthy diet. Even the people who seem to be the least healthy. I've talked to guys who look like they're 9 months pregnant, and women shaped like pears, and almost all of them seem to think they knew what foods were healthy, and would even get offended or act like I was crazy if I said I was going to eliminate a certain food or add something else. In fact, most of them seem to embrace that old model of calories in versus calories out. Energy expenditure has to be greater than energy intake in order to lose weight. But ironically, that never actually worked for me. And when I tried it, I felt like I was starving until I learned about some very controversial science that threw out that calorie model. I had to discover the science that best supported the weight loss and weight management for people with my body type, the endomorphs and mesomorphs. Once I started putting the pieces together, then I began applying what I knew about NLP and hypnosis to my own weight management. This is how I'm able to stay on track with exercise and nutrition. It did involve changing some behaviors and breaking some food addictions, but more importantly, it involved a shift in my identity and a change in my belief system, and everything else followed. What I've learned is that in terms of quality, not all foodstuffs are the same, and the best things for a person might be what has become the most demonized by the media. Additionally, not all exercise is the same, and ironically, less might actually be more. And lastly, not all thinking and feeling strategies are the same. In fact, what you're currently experiencing is the result of your current overall thinking and feeling strategy. Your body, your health in its present state is representative of what you value the most, your self-perception, your belief system, and your identity. When you understand how to update these factors, and you do it using the involution system, then everything else aligns to become congruent with who you are becoming. The involution weight management system addresses 4 categories of people, and you might find yourself in one or more of these categories. The first category addresses updating what you know about exercise. From what I've heard and from my own personal experience, some people are at a place where they have a good grasp on nutrition, eat well, and have no mental or emotional blocks to exercising, but they are totally overdoing it with exercise. This is a critical secret factor that many gyms, fitness trainers, and popular workout programs fail to tell you about because they need you paying them. And it manifests in 2 forms: adrenal fatigue and elevated levels of cortisol. In short, adrenal fatigue occurs when your body is exposed to intense or prolonged stress, and it results in symptoms of feeling tired all the time, and sleeping doesn't seem to help. You easily become sick, and feeling run down and overwhelmed is common. Cortisol is a fight or flight hormone, and its job is to increase your body's ability to fuel itself, essentially increasing your body's stores of sugar as a source of quick energy. In many ways, overtraining or overexercising, or even a silly 90-day window to lose X amount of pounds has an effect upon your body, like signaling it that you're constantly under stress. I can imagine that for most people with hectic lifestyles, work, deadlines, financial, emotional, social concerns, etc., that you're already under a great deal of stress. Now, throw in some grueling long workouts on top of that, and your body begins to think that T-Rex is constantly chasing you, and you need to store all of that energy in case you've got to run. Essentially, your body never gets a break. I've experienced that for sure. And ironically, when I made the point of going on a vacation where I had nothing to do, I would eat and drink what I wanted, and somehow I actually lost weight. That kind of throws the old caloric model of intake versus output right out the window, doesn't it? Calories don't seem to matter too much if you're experiencing adrenal fatigue or elevated cortisol. Slow down and change the way you exercise, as we outline in the Involution Weight Management Program, and change your emotional and mental associations with exercise. The second category addresses people who don't know what to eat. It's really not your fault, but now it is your responsibility. A fair number of people haven't invested the time to understand how certain food groups affect your body. There are 6 major classes of nutrients: carbohydrates, fats, minerals, proteins, vitamins, and water. However, how they all work together isn't that simple, but it can be easily learned, and there are better sources of these nutrients than others. There are also important environmental and scientific factors many people are unaware of that affect how well your body obtains and processes these nutrient classes. There are some consistent, timeless rules that affect how well the human body functions in correlation to the amount and source of each of these classes of nutrition being consumed. Understanding how a nutrient class affects your body is key to optimizing how you live life. The third category addresses the mental and emotional blocks that we tend to unconsciously create. Like the overweight, smart guy at the beginning of this video, there are a lot of people who grasp the nutrition and exercise components and see how it all plays out. But when it comes to getting leverage on themselves or having willpower, they have been powerless in the past. This really comes down to how you're processing information. Like it or not, reality and experience are subjective. Every human being with the capacity for cognition has an internal representation of the external world about him or her. The pictures you make in your mind, your self-talk, mental movies, recalling physical sensations, imagining emotions, all of these are part of a greater whole referred to as the universal modeling process. This process explains the potential sequences occurring between external events, internal experiences, and behavior. A person's body responds to their map of reality based upon the beliefs and understandings allowed for on this map. If you want to change your behavior, then the associated beliefs, understandings, meanings, identities, and assumed reinforcing factors that we call reality must also be updated to be congruent with the desired behavior. I'll make this really short and as crystal clear as possible for you to get. What you are experiencing right now with your body in the context of weight loss or weight management is the result of your current belief system. This means that your beliefs about the world around you, the meanings you assign to your experiences, and what you believe to be true about yourself, your identity, are all congruent with what you're experiencing in your body right now. Changing how you look, eat, exercise, or what you weigh all begins by changing your beliefs. And while that sounds simple, it can be quite elusive, since your beliefs are unconscious for the most part. So you're going to have to access your unconscious mind and create transformations at this level in order to experience internal congruence. The fourth category is really quite simple. You just don't know what you don't know. What you've been doing hasn't been working, other things that you've tried haven't worked or lasted very long, and you're ready for something that gives you power over your life, health, and well-being. We want to be very clear. This isn't a quick fix. What happened to your body didn't happen overnight, and it certainly won't resolve itself overnight. We're not here to give you a bunch of hype or too good to be true promises that your gut instinct screams at you are not true. For some, they'll experience dramatic results in a few months' time or less, and for others, it might take a couple of years. But keep in mind that this is a transformation, a change for the rest of your life. If you really want to be healthy, you have to learn this information and integrate the experiences into your daily living. My own results took me a few years to get a handle on what was the most effective for me personally, and it's going to be different for every single person. And what we share with you is based upon the latest science and the most effective strategies and techniques, most of which are timeless, meaning these are concepts that you can pass on to future generations. According to the ancient philosopher Pythagoras, When a triangle is established, any problem is already 2/3 solved. You know the problem. You can likely imagine living in your body differently. And the third piece, the involution weight management solution, will empower you to experience. One way or another, time is going to fly by. You can probably remember back 5 years ago and realize how much has changed, and at the same time, how some things haven't changed very much at all. You see, we get whatever we focus upon. And as you're finding yourself watching this video, hearing my voice, and most likely having a mixture of feelings ranging from skepticism to complete intrigue, you might just have the realization that this time you have the opportunity to finally make the change you've been wanting on some level. And once you do so, in another 5 years or so, you can find yourself out there in time, feeling good, looking back on what has changed in your life, and hearing that little voice say, "Way to go, you finally did it." Like I said, either way, life waits for no one, and time will inevitably pass. Right now, you have the opportunity to understand how to change your thinking and feeling and align them with the cutting edge of nutrition and exercise science. I sincerely believe once you get going, you'll be surprised at how little effort it takes to shed an old skin and live in the body nature intended you to have. We hope to see you on the inside.